Good evening. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Spiritual Speakeasy, where the spirits are all served and the bar is always open. Tonight's guest is I can't even describe her, just a fabulous young lady who has started her own business in the metaphysical world, does amazing investigations. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. Her name is Bella. And she's already got fans waiting for this. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Teresa. Hi, everybody. L&M Paranormal. Let's bring her on.
Hi.
Hi. You've got quite the fan group already on.
Yeah.
L&M says hi. Sarah says hi. Your mom's on. Teresa's on. You've got it. Tell everybody what you do and all about your stuff.
Hi. So I run a aromatherapy business. So I make aromatherapy roller balls, bath salts. I also make perfumes, candles, some sprays. I have protection spray, impact spray, some more like room sprays. I have all kinds of different things. I've started making brooms. I have altar brooms, big brooms, and mini brooms, which is bells, spell jars, paranormal kits, and pendulums. So
Wow. So when I first met you, you were doing amazing sprays, and I think you had the essential oil roll-ons.
Mm-hmm.
You had a huge book of paranormal investigation photographs. So you are not new to this metaphysical world.
Mm-hmm. I started when I was 12, so about like 2 years ago, I want to say 2-3 years ago, and then I got into the metaphysical world probably like last October. I think it was a year, so coming on 2 years soon.
So how did you know this was your world? How did you figure this out?
So I started off with getting into like crystals and stuff, and then I learned a little more about herbs and the like herbology side of it and aromatherapy, and then I made it as Christmas gifts, and then I started off with a small fair at my school, and then I just started doing more and more fairs, and I've always gone to metaphysical fairs, and then I started doing them as a vendor, so that's kind of how it all started.
How's it feel to be, you're a teenager, you're juggling school activities, you're in high school with people who they're not all tuned in. I mean, they're teenagers, right? Living the teenager life, and a lot of teenagers, and I'm generalizing here, but a lot of teenagers just aren't hooked into anything metaphysical or spiritual, or they don't even understand energy. And here you are doing all of this stuff in a very chaotic environment. How does that feel?
Sometimes it's a lot to juggle between school and like my extra activities at school and fairs, but mostly I can manage that. And honestly, well, I do go to like a small town school, so I have to watch what I say around there or how I present myself, because it's a small town. My mom works in the district, so you have to be careful. But a lot of my friends, honestly, they just expect it from me. Nothing surprises them anymore.
Like, do they have you make things, or do they ever say, hey, I've got this guy that I really like. Can you help me get him?
I've had, like, I keep my rollerballs or perfumes in my bag, and I've had people ask to borrow them or use them all the time.
I bet.
One time, like, one of my friends got it out of my bag because she asked for it, and then some guy took it from her and was rolling it all over his arm and said how good it smelled. I don't know. So that was quite the experience.
You're suiting everybody there, though, male and female. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Your sprays are very fluid. They're very gender fluid because they're
Mhm.
protection and they're essential oils, so they can be for everybody.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
a year or two ago, you started doing your paranormal investigations. What was that
Mhm.
like entering? Because I know so many places have rules for age.
Yeah.
People expect teenagers to come in and be rowdy. You know, we put
Mhm.
event ages so that we keep out younger people because
Yeah.
we don't want them to be scared or we don't want them to get attachments. So what's that like?
So, getting into it, it was like kind of a family thing. Me and my mom would do like just little ghost tours and stuff. Since I was like itty bitty, we would go to historic places, do ghost tours and stuff. And then a couple years back, I started out. Sorry,
Oh, you're
I got
good.
dowsing rods for my birthday, and I kind of like went on a trip down. Like I think we were in Savannah and Beaufort and Jekyll and places like that. And that's how I started with dowsing rods. And then I started doing more bigger investigations, overnight stuff. And then I just keep adding on to it, to all my gear, and I'm getting like stronger with my sensitivity in it, and just I don't know, I love it. So
So with your sensitivity, do you see things and hear things or is it intuition? How far do you go with your voyance or your clairs?
yeah, for me, I would explain it more like intuition. I don't physically see, but I can like picture it in my head if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's not like if I can tell if somebody's like sitting there, and if it's like a woman, what she's wearing, how her hair is. I can tell like how old she is, um, stuff like that. And mostly I use my tools to confirm all the information and make sure it's all correct. So
Good, good. What did you buy at this latest fair?
at this latest fair, I got
Mhm.
a bone throwing kit, which I'm really excited to start doing because I've been interested in that for a while now.
Good, good. Now, do
Yeah.
you read tarot?
I do for myself and my family.
And your
So
friends, do they like hit you up for tarot readings?
One of my
'Cause
friends, her grandmother does it, so yeah, she comes to me sometimes. Mhm.
so for the listeners out there and the viewers out there that are catching this, Bella's mom is also very tuned in. You have a whole family. I mean, on the
Mhm.
women's side that are very strong psychically, wouldn't you say?
Yes, very much
So
so.
she's not alone in this world, just kind of being left to fumble. She has guides. She has spirit guides that are very, very direct with her and work with her, um, and as well as your mom.
Mhm.
So that kind of helps that along. I don't want anybody to think that she's like out there floundering and doing these things kind of unaware. She's probably more aware than a lot of the investigators that I've worked with. You got people hopping on here just saying all kinds. Give them a shout out. Hi, everybody. Oh, thank you for taking the dolls. No problem. We love the dolls. We love the dolls. They're in good hands. Um, what is the scariest thing you've run into?
The scariest thing I've run into, ooh, that's hard. Um, well, I was at this small boutique, and it was an investigation, and it was like a couple hours, and it was like around 10 at night. It was just made to be like a small thing, and it was made to be like haunted by like the owner's mother and the previous owners from the building. And somebody asked me to come over and check out this bathroom in the back of this like building, and we went back there, and I like there was a vibe, and there was like a dark kind of figure thing, and they were just kind of like squeezing into corners when we walked in there. So I was like, okay, I'll just leave it alone because clearly didn't want to be talked to. I guess that kind of like gave it the okay to come out, and that was a mistake because it was very weird. I haven't experienced it like something like this before, but after that, it was like a tall, skinny figure, and it was
Mhm.
like all black and had one big eye. And
Ooh,
I was kind of like, yeah, I was kind of like, I don't really know what I think about this. And they were doing, another lady was doing Estes, and I could see the thing like hovering over her, and it was feeding her answers like it was pretending to be the previous shop owner. So I was like, I don't really like that. That was probably my scariest thing, just because I wasn't used to that at the time. Yeah. And I haven't experienced anything like that before or since then.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you do when you get into something like that? I mean, you weren't counting
Yeah.
on that, and then it's like, and that's the other thing. You're blowing up the feed, girl. Um, Anne says hi, Bella. Callie and I are here, and Patty says hi, Bella, and Teresa says you're absolutely adorable, and Danielle's saying hi to your mom. She must have said hi to you too. Or she's just saying hi to your mom. And Dan says he loves investigating with you. And Richard says hello too. So you have like your whole fan club here. That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
So let's tell you. You said a couple things. You said it was hanging over her while she was doing the Estes.
Yeah.
That's really scary because people
Mhm.
assume, like you've seen it, we assume when we go under Estes that it's being that our guides, if you will, are making sure that we're safe and that things aren't feeding us
Mhm.
the wrong information.
Yeah.
Have you
And there
have
was
you ever had that where you didn't know what was giving you the information?
um honestly, personally no, because I make sure to really put up a big shield when I go under Estes, and I just haven't experienced anything like that before where it's not
Hmm.
something I don't something that I don't know what it is.
Hmm.
So, mhm.
Have you ever experienced kids that you thought weren't or that you knew weren't kids?
Um in my house there was a spirit that would mimic like um being a little girl, and I knew it wasn't a little girl. So,
So what do you do when you run up against things like that?
honestly, I just kind of put up shields and kind of stop like communicating to it or doing what I'm doing and put up shields.
Good for you.
So,
Good for you. That's I mean
mhm.
that's excellent. That's what you need to do, right? Not call it out and not get in over your head with it or give it
Yeah.
attention. Unfortunately, there's so many people I think out there that don't ground themselves and don't protect themselves.
Mhm.
And even when you go to fairs, there's a lot of readers that don't protect themselves. And
Yeah.
you see the number of people that come through and um, for people on the podcast tonight and listening, a lot of times people don't understand, even in the metaphysical community, that not only do you have other metaphysical workers in rooms, but then you have patrons of the fairs that
Mhm.
come out and they're a lot of times they're shopping, but a lot of times they're coming seeking for help
Yeah.
with issues, and that's why they're coming to seek help. I mean, that's
Mhm.
one reason we have the fairs is not just to sell goods, but also to hook people up with the people they need to be hooked up with to get help.
Mhm.
So things can lurk around and that can be really, really scary. Do you want to explain to the listeners and viewers what the Estes method is?
So the Estes method is where you plug and noise canceling headphones into a spirit box or a spirit talker app, and it the spirits can talk to it and you just say what you hear. Most of the time you have a blindfold on, and that's just to block all your senses to kind of put you in a meditative state to make it easier. And then they just use you and the spirit box to feed you answers, and then you tell the group, and the group can ask questions.
So with that explanation, I'm curious when that being was or that entity was hanging over that lady, was he
Hmm.
speaking through the spirit box or was he feeding her head the information?
Honestly, I think he might have just been feeding her it, most likely.
Uh-huh.
And that whole group and her were just like kind of oblivious to it. They didn't realize that it wasn't the shop owner. and stuff, and I was just standing near the front door, like, waiting for it to be over with because I knew whatever they were doing was not, like, I didn't wanna be a part of it, so
Well, that's really scary too, because those kind of things can go home with people.
mhm,
What
yeah.
what do you do to keep things from going home with you?
So I use my protection spray, I set up boundaries, and my big thing is when I'm, like, pulling out or, like, sitting in the car, I roll down the windows and tell whatever it is, any nothing can follow me home. I don't care where you go. You can go back to where you came from. You can go to the light. You just can't follow me. And then I kind of sum it up from there. So,
That's really good. Where did you learn that from? Did your mom teach you that, or is that just
mhm.
something intuitively?
My mom taught me that.
Good, good.
Mhm.
I mean, your skill levels in doing investigations with you is it's just amazing, because there's so many adults out there, my age, older and younger, that do not have that level of intuition and skill.
Mhm.
And working with you, like, if there's any investigators on out there that want to hook up with Bella and her mom, her her web pages and how to get a hold of them will be posted on this, in the comment section, because I want you guys to have the opportunity to work with her, but I also want her to spread her wings and get a chance to work with all kinds of people. He put your apothecary shop on first, because her sprays are like absolutely the bomb. If you need cleaning sprays, absolutely. Um, Justine asked, "What's your Savannah story?"
My Savannah story. So I've been there like a couple times in the past 2 years, and I've been to Sorrel Weed House mainly is where we went because we would just drive up for the night. We didn't stay in Savannah. We stayed in a town outside of it. And I've been in the Sorrel Weed House twice. And I've picked up on multiple things. We have a photo of a man with like black hair or dark hair and like a white collared shirt in the um building out back where like the slave quarters,
Hmm.
um, him up there, and they have caught him actually on other photos before that.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I've talked to the wife, um, and her little daughter was there in the living room or parlor, actually. I talked to the son, and there was a guy in our group, um, that looked like the portrait of the son,
Oh,
and
wow.
the mother was also there, and she wouldn't walk in the room and she wouldn't talk to us because that guy looked so much like her son. So that was very
Ooh,
unusual. Yeah, so she was like she just wouldn't walk into the room because the guy looked so much like her son.
what a
We
trigger
also
object. I mean, he
I
was a trigger
know.
object that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, and he didn't look like exactly like the son. He just had like similar facial hair and stuff, but
Hmm.
still. And then I've talked to Warren Majors in his office. He said he was like trapped there in his office area. So I don't know if that's something to do with the afterlife or somebody bind him there or something along those lines. There was a little uh, girl in the basement who liked to run around. I have a photo of her, and it's like a bright blue streak of her running because she was very playful. And another like nanny was down there with her, and there was a doctor's down there in the surgery room. So
Wow.
lots of things.
Lots of activity, lots to
Hmm.
communicate. Did you commute? Did you communicate using Estes with that, or was
At
that just intuitively?
Mostly that was intuitively and dowsing rods because at that point I was really only had dowsing rods and basic equipment. So
Did you get any good EVPs?
I honestly don't do EVPs,
Okay.
not often, but one of the guys that were leading the investigation, he did get a lot of EVPs, especially in the room with the guy that looked so much like the son.
Hmm.
So,
That's cool. That's
mhm.
that's super cool. So, of all the places you've been, what's your favorite place?
So paranormal wise, my favorite place has to be like Belvoir Winery. because there's just so much there. And hmm, that's actually really hard. My second one would probably, oh, this is hard.
I know
Probably
there's,
Beaufort, because in the graveyard there is very, because the lady we were on the investigation with, she grew up there and all the spirits knew her. And so
oh,
they would
wow.
say, they would be like, "Oh, hi," her name or whatever, "Hi again," and she knew everybody, so that was interesting.
What fun. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like the golden ticket, right, to an
Yeah.
investigation. Hi, spirits. Hi. You know?
Mhm.
Because, a lot of times people don't understand when you go places, you don't always get things.
Yeah.
Just because it's an active haunt does
Mhm.
not mean that it's going to be active the night that you go.
Yeah.
And if those spirits decide they don't want to talk to you, then guess what? you know, you get nothing. Have you ever been
Yeah.
on one of those where you got nothing all night?
Not one where it was, like, dead, but I've had slower ones or, like, non-active hauntings. They're more, like, residual or the spirits just don't really understand what we're doing.
Hmm.
So, I've
Yeah,
had, like, a
because
couple.
we come in with all this fancy equipment.
Mhm.
In 1800, early 1900 spirits, they're like, what the hell? you know, you
Yeah.
just put a magic box in front of me. I'm not touching that thing. Haunted
Mhm.
Souls Paranormal said McIntyre Villa.
Mhm. Racketeer was fun. That one was very busy when we did an investigation there.
I have not done that place. So that's on my list.
Mhm.
I have a lot. I have a large bucket list. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just, one at a time. I'm marking them down. Um, Getting ready to go to Gettysburg, and you're getting ready to go back to
Charleston.
Charleston.
Which I'm excited for.
That's going to be a trip.
Mhm.
That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the comments on here is asking me what did we get on the investigation when we did her case with the active doll. Well, we have since communicated a lot with that doll. In Bella took part in that investigation in that Estes method with that doll as well. Um,
Mhm.
I think we can pretty much confirm that the doll has energy from multiple different events and multiple different people. I think the doll itself was a trauma doll. I think the doll has seen a lot of trauma, and I think a lot of trauma energy. I saw that yawn. I think that the doll has seen a lot of energy, and we are going to work with that doll to heal the energy that's in it and help transmute it to a better place. I think that's how I would sum it up. Do you have anything you want to add, Bella?
No, I think that was pretty much a good summary.
Try to keep it kind of mellow for the show, but yeah, we did have a great. It will be released to the internet once we get all the videos together, but that is coming. um what advice would you give someone who has never communicated with spirits but is interested?
I would say just go in with an open mind and be respectful. Not all the time they'll wanna talk to you, but the ones who do, just make sure to be respectful and don't pressure them to talk or give you information. If they don't wanna talk about a certain event in their life, they don't have to, stuff like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Don't, I we have the running joke here, don't pull a Zach Bagans. um I think when I think when you absolutely know something is demonic and there's no if, ands, or buts, you can actually amp things up and do what you have to do. However, I say that really with a grain of salt as well, because the more anger and the more emotions you're feeding into something, the more it's going to be fed and create and grow. And so, ignoring is not a bad thing. Ignoring
Mhm.
is not a bad thing. If you see something and it's over your head and you don't want to communicate it, with it, don't communicate with it. Don't get over your head and get involved in something. If you're scared and you need to get out, get out. There's all kinds of TikTok videos and shows out there of people who want to confront because of fear, and they scream and they yell and they go out and then they come back in and they go out and they come back in. And it's like, make up your mind and do what you need to do, because you're feeding an energy form. Have you ever had to leave an investigation?
No, honestly, actually, no, I take that back. We were in old Missouri town, and they had like different buildings scattered around that they have brought to this area from different places. And we were in a church, and one of the guys that were leading the investigation, part of the crew, he was in that building, and there was a priest haunting it, and he did not like what we were doing. He did not want to communicate at all, and he was just so angry. And the guy kept on pushing buttons, and he was like, oh, he can't be mad, ghosts can't be mad, and you can't, like, he was just not a good guy to be leading an investigation, especially in that area. And he was just making this priestess or pastor, whatever he was, so mad that I kind of I had to step out, because I didn't want to be a part of what he was saying. And then two, he was just like so mad. You could like just feel the like shaking anger. So
Yeah, those are hard situations to be in when, to me, the lead investigator or the person who's doing the communicating in that moment, because to me, anybody who's actually got a dialogue or is getting responses, that's going to be the person in that moment who's in charge. And when that person loses control and starts becoming angry or anything like that, to me, it's time to back out, because, you done lost it. And that gets scary when emotions start coming into play. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with, I don't know whether you've ever communicated with anybody and you've been tearful or you've actually felt the emotions. And I don't mind connecting that way as long as I can break that connection when I need to.
Yeah.
But anger is just one of those things. You can be angry for that person and understand and empathize with that spirit, but to become angry at the spirits does no good.
Yeah.
And that's one of those situations. I'm sending notes. I've got 2 sets of comments going here. Heidi's on. She said, fantastic girl, with, thumbs up, exclamation points. And then Damien says, do you have any favorite books about communicating with spirits or paranormal investigations? Good question. That has never popped up on my show. That's a good one.
Honestly, no. I just gotta go in and wing it all.
She doesn't have time to read. She's in school. She's reading all her school books. And honestly, I don't, gosh. If it had been about craft, I have a ton of them, but favorite books about communicating with spirits, I don't have any. I think they're all slighted and one-sided. It's really hard for me to come up with a good book that Instant Magic by Christopher Penczak is a great witchcraft type book, because it teaches you how to manifest super fast. Because manifesting and witchcraft are the same thing. It really is. It's all mind over matter. And so, if you can manifest that front row parking spot at the mall or the movie theater, or, the traffic lights to turn green, that's great. But any good meditations that you recommend? Do you do any meditation?
Not really. I really would like to, but I tell myself I will, and then I always forget. That's how it goes with me.
Do you journal?
Every once in a while, when I remember, I try
I,
to.
I like this because one of my assignments for yoga is you're supposed to like journal every day and you're supposed to do 30 minutes. And I'm praying my yoga instructor, Chelsea, is not on here because she gets on. I'm like, no, I've not journaled. It's been 6 months. I have like 2 notes of my journal. Um, I don't do that. And to take 30 minutes to meditate, I'm really working on it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good for the mind and good for the soul. I have some good ones, but I don't do them like I should.
yeah.
So you have school,
Hmm.
you have your paranormal investigations. How do you get all of that in?
Honestly, I don't know.
Because
I
you guys travel a lot.
Yeah, I do travel a lot. Normally, I just try to like get I'm good about like listening and paying attention in school and just getting my work done there. I don't really honestly, I'm lucky my school doesn't give me a ton of homework to do at home
Hmm.
cuz so I get to do all my stuff that I do in my free time. But it's a lot to juggle. And then
It
I do
is.
a lot of extra activities at school, so it's just a lot.
Yeah, your mom said editing videos takes up most of your time, and that's the
Yes.
other side of investigations. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Tanya. Um, that's people don't get that. It is such we come back with hours of footage,
Yeah.
hours. Like I don't know if you record all the time. Like we set up blink cameras at a lot of our places that we're going to be there
Mhm.
all night. Well, blink cameras are they're noise and light sensitive. So you may have 30, 40, 50 videos, snippets in one
Yeah.
minute. Like it's just flipping on and off and on and off, and you're checking all of those things.
Mhm. Editing takes a long time for me because
Uh,
it's all me. So,
yeah. Your mom also says you're an honor student. So see, with all of this, here you go. She's got
mhm.
great grades. She's doing these investigations. You do trap shooting, right?
Yep.
Just so the extracurricular as well as the whole metaphysical world and keeping
Mhm.
it all together. And you watch, people are carrying jobs and they're doing all these things. And it's just hard. L&M says we can relate days, weeks, months.
Yep.
Do you film? Do you leave cameras on the whole time?
I normally just set up my phone. Normally when I'm like find a location or a room or space, whatever, I want to start investigating or feel spirit is wanting to talk, I normally just set up my phone and just go from there. I can record for like 10 minutes or an hour. I just really depends.
So you said you don't do EVPs. Is there a reason you don't do EVPs, or is it just too much on top of everything?
Honestly, I don't really do too much with the electronics. The only electronical things I really do is Estes and just apps on my phone, but that's pretty much it for the electronics.
Hmm. Well, it's funny, and the comments are still coming in. Tanya, you haven't. I don't know. You weren't in Arkansas, so I have to keep track of where everybody goes. Tanya has the language of your destiny, so she does the human design readings, and then she is a reader of words and linguistics, and
Mhm.
works behavioral like changes and elevation plans for that. And she said she loves your brilliance. Sarah says, thank you for taking the time. She's very impressed. Heidi says, and Bella Luna Apothecary Products, order one of her witch's brooms. That's so cool. I got to do that. Um, L&M says she's a gift. She is meant to do this. It's natural. And I honestly felt inspired meeting her and her mother. I mean, I think we all feel that way about you. Like, it's just so cool. Um, and I feel so blessed to have you on my show because you're an inspiration. I mean, at 62, you're what I wanted to be at 14 and couldn't be. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure your mom has told you stories, like your mom isn't near as old as I am, but that keeping it in the closet and not letting people know who you are or what you are and the fear of being who you are, and yet you do all of
Hmm.
this.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
lucky to have a good support system.
and everybody's very proud of you for that. That is so cool. And you listen. I mean, that's another thing too, because you can have a support system, but if you don't take the advice and you don't listen to the wisdom that's been passed on, then
Hmm.
that's a whole thing too. And for those people who have not watched um, your mom and you work together, it's crazy because you are such a team and you move together in such a
Hmm.
way. And that just doesn't happen between it doesn't happen between husbands and wives. It doesn't happen between a lot of team members. And here you are, doing this with your mom, which is super, super, super cool. Patty says you're a
Yeah.
special gift in your life. Um, yeah, Christopher, you're right. In the late 70s and 80s, man, that was like a hush hush thing. We didn't come out. And if you did, it was like, not a
Hmm.
cool thing. Um, do you have anybody that challenges you? I'm not asking for names, but I mean, do you have people that, I don't know your neighborhood, but knowing what you do, have you had those negative experiences, things left on your doorstep, things said to you in Facebook?
Mm. Um, at like regular fairs that aren't metaphysical fairs, because every once in a while I'll do like a regular one just for fun. Well, we used to. I don't really do them very often now. And I've had people call me a witch. I've had people just call me all kinds of names. So I don't really do normie fairs anymore. Because that's kind of a common thing that happens is people call me names and stuff like that. And
No muggle fairs.
yeah, I've had people say it to my face.
In a derogatory fashion.
Hmm.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So how did you handle that?
Um, I just didn't care. Like, I just don't give them a reaction. So
Good, good, good.
yeah.
Um, I think the funniest thing I had, because Jefferson City is obviously it's the state capital, but it's a small town. I mean, it's not a big city
Hmm.
by any means. And I had dreads. I've had dreads for 13, 14 years, and I've had tats for probably 16, 17 years. I'm a late bloomer with the tats, but still, I had them before it was really popular for people to have full sleeves and
Hmm.
a lot of other things. And I can remember being downtown um, and was eating at a local restaurant, and I was coming out, and these little church ladies were walking by the window. It was really kind of cute at the same time.
Hmm.
But they pointed at me through the window like I couldn't see them through clear glass, and I'm watching them. There was no smoky glass or one way. Like it was
Yeah.
two-sided glass. You could see through it. And they pointed at me, and they were like shaking their finger, and you could watch their mouths, and they were like bad mouthing me, and it was really funny. And I had to. It was just one of those little moments where I had to do something funny, and I went out and I said, now, ladies, what would Jesus think?" And they were just like, "Oh, we're sorry." And then I just walked off because it was really funny.
Yeah. I think people forget sometimes that if they're like talking bad about you, like you notice. You just
Hmm.
forget you're a person.
Yeah, like let's just talk
Yeah.
and pray. And here you are standing like, "Hi, I'm here."
Yeah.
Your mom points out that it's not just her, but the people that you meet. You've got a lot of
Hmm.
strong women examples, and that's
Oh
that's
yeah.
so true too. Because I think the women in this field are very. We've had to be very strong to hold our own.
Hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things we don't we take no crap. You know,
Yeah.
you have to be yourself, and you have to stand up for yourself. But at the same
Hmm.
time, I like to think that we are we're trying to pave the way for you guys so that when the young generation comes up that's in the paranormal and in the metaphysical world, you guys don't have the hard path that we've had to have with the outings.
Yeah.
I've had friends that have had dead animals left on their doorstep. They've had stuff spray painted on their doors. They've had stuff, and this is big city stuff, which really surprises me because, big cities have every kind of person imaginable, right?
Yeah.
I've been really lucky. I have had none of that. I've had a few hate things on, Facebook and Messenger and stuff like that, but that's not even
Yeah.
that's normal people having hate things on Facebook too. So,
Yeah.
well, cool. Well, cool. So, where do you want to go next? Like, if you could choose one place to investigate that would be your dream investigation, what would it be?
Probably Gettysburg, because that's been on our list for like a really long time. We just have never made it out there.
See,
So
we keep telling you, come with us, come with
I
us.
know.
I mean, like, how far a drive is that really from where you're going to be to Gettysburg?
Yeah,
12 hours? I'm
I
really
think
bad.
so.
So you could easily do that in one day.
Yeah.
Mom, come up and join us in Gettysburg. What do you want if you went to Gettysburg, what would you want to see there? Like, is it the battlefields? Because some people are into the battlefields and some people are into the hospitals. What would you want to see?
Probably more the battlefields, because I feel like that would have the most impact and imprints.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would agree
So
with that. Um, do you there's I'm watching this conversation. L&M said, is there a link for her shop? Yes, there is. It's in the comments section and we can post it again. Do you have any upcoming events? Um, and then Russell says, hint, hint, I think he's talking about Gettysburg. Your mom says, I'm missing school. But you could say that Gettysburg was an educational
yeah.
experience. Absolutely. It would be a um, tremendous educational experience. The one thing that I want to do in Gettysburg is do you work with a lot of trigger objects besides people who just happen to pop in looking like trigger objects?
Not really. I think it would be fun too, but I haven't done anything yet.
You should try that. Like I intend to. I've got a backpack. I have a medical backpack, and since we're
Hmm.
driving, I can. It's not like I have to get on a plane and do those things. So I've got my medical backpack and I'm actually going to go in with my stethoscope because I am a nurse by trade and I'm going to run onto the field and yell medic and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get some kind of class A EVPs and some intelligent responses and I'm sure we're also going to get a whole lot of residual there from
Hmm.
the energy on the field. um, Oh, and Tanya says, and a book report from a paranormal perspective. That would
Yeah.
blow the lids off your teachers right there.
I've done an essay on a paranormal experience before.
What did they think?
My teacher was kind of all into that stuff, and she knew about all my business, so she was like, she loved it.
That's awesome. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Your mom says that you guys had three brothers in the family die in Gettysburg on one day. Well, see, that's not only a field trip, but then that's your genealogy
Hmm.
and all that. I mean, you're covering so many just subjects. We're going to talk your mom into this before we're through with this. Get a whole group
Oh
going up
yeah.
there. Um, haunted objects. Let's go there.
Mm. I haven't had a ton of experience with haunted objects. I've talked to spirits attached to objects before
Hmm.
and like why. I have never like like had an haunted object in my possession. Um, from my knowledge. Yeah. I probably have, and that's probably before I've gone into paranormal stuff really, but currently I don't have anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you've gone to people's houses and you've gone to the institutions you've been to, have you had
Hmm.
anything that you felt was like fully loaded with someone's energy that was active, or was it all residual?
A lot of it is what I pick up on is active. Like some most of the time it's like an object, like a mirror or something like that, or a table or something weird. Not weird, but like
Hmm.
something like furniture. And it's a spirit that's in that building or in that place because of that item. They came with the item. So that's kind of how I pick up on haunted objects.
How do you work with mirrors?
Mirrors. Um, I haven't done much with mirrors. So, I think it would be cool to work with mirrors,
Hmm.
but like I said, I just haven't really got much in it.
Yeah, I did not start scrying until I would say within the last couple. Mom says no. She says no. Your mom, no.
She does not
Capital
like
letters,
mirrors.
no mirrors. Mom says no. Um, I started scrying last year. Um, I actually took a class with Cindy Kaza. She has
Mhm.
online stuff, and I took a class on automatic writing, and I took a class on scrying and doing things like that because it's a fear of mine. Like, it's not that I don't like mirrors. I just
Yeah.
have that ability to get sucked into them very easily. And to
Mhm.
control that for me was I didn't want to do it because I see things in there that I don't really want to see.
Yeah.
But doing that and then working alongside another person who is a metaphysical friend of mine, she showed me how to close those portals in mirrors. And so now I can like go in and watch the things, but I can pull myself back out and get them sealed. So I'm not
Yeah.
so scared of them. Um, your mom says bad experiences with spirits in the mirrors. They're scary. Russell
Yeah.
and we've got a video of a house we went into that it was quite the house. It was not the worst house we went into, but
Mhm.
it was very close to being the worst house. It had been it was an old house that had been abandoned for a while. The family got kicked out. The family had issues. We're just going to leave it at that. The family had a lot of issues, and one of the older adult sons has mental illness, and he runs the streets, and he came and went back into the abandoned property. So there was a lot of parties at the house, and there was a lot of needles and human waste upstairs all over the floors and the walls. It would have been used as a drug den. Um, and the mirrors were horrible, and we got
Mhm.
sucked in. I got sucked in. You could see the whole face morphing thing, and we've got it all on tape. And that was really scary. Like that to me was above and beyond. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. You've got your mom's listing all these people that say no mirrors. Danielle says, I agree, no mirrors. And your mom says, Auntie Danielle says no mirrors. So other no-nos that you will not do.
Um, Ouija boards. I won't do Ouija boards. No mirrors. Um, I think those are the only ones I can think of right now off the top of my head.
Hmm.
But yeah, those are pretty much the two that's kind of out of out of the picture for me.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, it's good to set your boundaries and know what you're comfortable with and what you're not. I have a very short list of things that I will not
Mhm.
do. Um, it seems to get shorter and shorter because for some reason I keep crossing some of those lines. Um, I don't recommend that, but I like in witchcraft stuff. I refuse to do love spells or money spells for anybody.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
I
do love spells, nothing like that.
I won't because I don't think that it's you can't you don't want to force somebody to be in a situation with someone else that alters
Mhm.
everybody's destiny. And just messes with things. And money, if you can't figure out how to manage your money, I shouldn't be bringing money to you until you have a respect and an understanding of how synchronicities and the flow of money works. If you can't, I'm not going to do that if
Yeah.
you can't figure that out. I'm supposed to ask you about Amelia Island.
Mm. That was pretty haunted. We went there thinking it was just gonna be like a hokey ghost tour, and it was not. Because it was just like a little small town, and we were on a walking tour with this lady. We were the only people in this group, and we were like stopped at multiple stops. We walked around a couple blocks, I think, and every house just had an awful story. Like nobody there were so many different deaths from things. Nothing was like a natural death or like anything positive. It was all just awful. And we were talking about one house, and my mom pointed out like a house, like a couple um, ones down, and she said she saw somebody on the porch. And so the lady was like, "Oh, let's walk over there." And then she told us this story, and it was about this man who lost a patent on a needle, and that like kind of drove him to a point where he decided he was gonna kill his whole family and commit suicide. And
Woo!
so he managed to get his wife, but the oldest daughter got all the children out. So the children were safe, and then the man um, went to prison, and his sister came to take care of the children, and she ended up poisoning all the children and running off, and they never found the sister. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was bad. And this house wasn't even on the tour, so who knows what other
what?
ones were not on the tour. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And so my mom was seeing the man and a woman, probably his wife, on the porch, and the lady told my mom to step closer so she could get a better look. And my mom stood on the land and she heard her grandmother, so my great grandmother, say no in her ear. And it was just too late. She already slipped on the ground. So we were continuing the tour. We were walking down this one big road, and the lady was just telling us more stories. And the guy from the porch was trying to follow us down the road, and he was like just trying to follow us. So then my great grandmother was there. She stopped him, and she was kind of like standing on the road blocking him. And then my mother, two cats that are passed, so ghost cats, were there, and you could see them sitting on the sidewalk blocking it. And our next stop was in a graveyard, and my mom asked, "Is that family buried in the graveyard?" Because there's like only two in that itty bitty town. And the lady goes, "I don't know, but probably most likely." So the man was going to try to go around the block and meet us at the graveyard. So we kind of just ended the tour there because we weren't
Oh,
going to go there and meet back up with him. And my mother ended up getting an attachment from the sister, and she followed us home, and it was like constricting my mom's chest at night and stuff. So we had to get her gone and unattached.
how
So,
did you
and
do
we were
that?
not um we were I had a friend that did it for us because we were at a mystic fair, and she saw my mom, and she knew something was wrong, something wasn't the same. So after one night at the fair, we went out in the parking lot, and she did a whole like saging and cleansing thing and got her unattached. So
Wow.
hmm we were just not prepared. We didn't protect ourselves because my mom she normally wears like special crosses. She either wears one that her dad got her, or um another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. That was like a gift. And she just had it on junk jewelry crosses, and she didn't protect herself that night. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow. So all the stuff in the neighborhood, none of that was related to each other.
hmm
It was just all one bad story after another.
Yeah, there was one of a guy whose wife died in childbirth, and his daughter would act up, and he tied her to a chair and went to work one day and died of a heart attack.
The
And this
hell?
was in Florida, and she ended up dying of dehydration, and she
Oh
was
my
just left there.
God.
And then there was another one where a lady got pushed off a balcony. There was another house where they found human remains and bones in a basement.
What?
Yeah, it was just awful. There was fires, which that was probably the most tame stories were the house fire ones. It was just bad.
So it makes you wonder if, gosh.
And that town had a lot of, like, people who would come in and, like, battles and stuff where places different countries would conquer it, so it was just, like, battle after battle and bloodshed. It was really bad.
So the energetically, it just sucked. It was just a whole thing.
Mhm. And there was a thing where they dug up all these Native American burial grounds
Oh,
there
no, no,
too,
no,
so
no,
that
that's me.
happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. It was
I mean,
really
just
bad.
a ton of bad juju, all on top of bad juju. Like,
I know. Everything was, like, an awful story. It was bad on bad.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Backtracking on the comments because I usually throw them out there. Yes, Christopher, going back, I did not try to ignore you on that one. Yeah, it's not ethical to do that kind of. He went back to the spell work stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
money and love. I don't like to do unethical stuff. That's just not cool. Divine pathways, and I don't believe in predestined things, but I believe that freedom, free will. You said free will, freedom of choice, and I think our choices lead us to the paths that we need to take, and the little side trips even that we need to take. Your mom says you didn't say, or you wouldn't say what your friend said. Do I want to know? Sound, oh, bye, bitch. Yeah, bitch be gone. Bitch be gone.
That's basically what you said.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody says it sounds like there was a curse in the neighborhood. Yeah, layers and layers of bad energy. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Like just one thing after another, which makes you wonder
Yeah.
if the land wasn't cursed to begin with. You
Mhm.
know, if the Native Americans or who came before them
Yeah.
had put some kind of energy on that land just to make it,
Mhm.
because you see that in neighborhoods like where there's one really big nasty thing. A lot of times there's that
Yeah.
whole area is, and you see that around major institutions as well. um Night, Danielle, thanks for joining us.
Good night. Thank you.
um you know, especially mental institutions and prisons, you see the whole block go bad, that whole area,
Mhm.
because I believe it's because of the energy buildup, and it has no place to go but the earth. And granted,
Yeah.
the earth is supposed to be cleansing, but if the earth was cursed or had bad blood on it, then that's
Mhm.
gonna obviously do that some more. Well, I promised Bella that I would get her out of here at 10 o'clock because it is a school night, and because she's got all these activities, and because she's exhausted because she did paranormal investigations all weekend, and it's just she's got a paranormal hangover, people. Her energy is gone. She's drained. Is there anything, shout outs, anything you want to say, upcoming trips besides the one you mentioned?
Um, Charleston we're going to in October. We have little stuff popping up. I have a fair in Lawrence at the end of this month, and yep, that's pretty much the
Okay.
things coming up.
Well, well, go to her, please. Cheers, Christopher. Um, Carol, wonderful show. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Please, please, please go to her website. It's in the comments. Um, your first lead investigation,
Oh yeah.
Springfield.
I have one in Hammond's Castle in Springfield, and it's gonna be my first one by myself. I'm gonna have three of my friends. Oh no, sorry, two of my friends come, and it's all of our birthdays, and all their family are coming. So
Oh,
I'm
how
gonna lead my
fun!
first investigation.
Ah, that's going to be great. Christopher says, make a
Mhm.
stop at Rodney Scott's Barbecue in Charleston. There you go. Snapshot that. Good barbecue is always welcome on trips, not before
Mhm.
investigations, though, especially if you burp, growl, or pass gas, um, or your stomach growls, because then you have to keep on recording going, that's me. That's me. Thank you. I do that all the time. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for inviting me.
It has been an absolute pleasure. You have a beautiful soul and amazing energy, and I'm just so grateful that you and your mom have, come into our lives. And I just love working with you, and I look forward to doing something major with you. Like it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I'm
Get some
excited.
sleep. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Night. Bye, everybody.